Hola, ¿qué tal amigos? Buenos días, buenas tardes y buenas noches. No importa la hora que sea, siempre es un gran momento para aprender español. Our lesson today is, what in the world is going on with solo without an accent, solo with an accent, and solamente? Right? What is happening? Well, let's take a look. Solo, we're going to find out it is an adjective, and it can have four forms. Solo, sola, solos, and solas. They mean alone or lonely. And it's an adjective, but it's generally not used with nouns. Like if you want to say the only day I have free would be el único día. If you want to say the only people would be las únicas personas. This is basically how you say the only plus a noun. But you could say, like, the single reason, the solitary reason, la sola razón, ¿verdad? La sola razón, the single reason, the solitary reason, the only reason. But you're not going to take solo and take it into the plural form and say las solas personas, the only people. Basically, when it's used ever as an adjective in front of a noun, it's in the singular form, and it's not very common at all. So as you get better in Spanish and you hear it and you see it, you know that's kind of the sutileza, the little subtlety, right? That little difference that can appear with solo, solo, and solamente. Okay, solo, sola, solos, and solas. Characteristically, they're used with the verbs estar and sentirse. For example, ella está muy sola. She's very lonely. Estamos solos. We're lonely. El muchacho está solo. Está solito. He's by himself. He's alone. By himself. Solito. Sentirse. I feel lonely. Me siento solo. A lady would say, me siento sola. Me siento muy sola. I feel very lonely. Goodness. You know when people are sick, and we do everything we can to help them through nutrition and medication, pills, rest, encouragement, right? Positivity when people are physically sick. But mentally, when people are, I don't want to say sick mentally, I don't know if that's the right term, but when they're upset and they feel alone and lonely, we need to rush to those people, and we need to give them at least a virtual hug if we're out of the state or region or county or country, but we need to be there for those people, right? Sentirse. If someone says, me siento muy solo, then you better, that's your, what is it, call to arms, or that's your call of action. That's your call to action to help that person. So keep that in mind. That is our humanity, right? Okay, so again, solo, sola, solos, and solas mean alone or lonely. If I say like tú sola, that would mean you by yourself. If someone says for you to do something and you're like incredulous, I can't do that. No puedo hacerlo yo solo. I can't do it by myself. Yo solo, me by myself. Yo solo, no puedo hacerlo. Us by ourselves, nosotros solos, no señor. No se puede, can't do it. Ellas solas, them by themselves, que estás loco, what are you, crazy? So, yo solo, me by myself, tú solo, you by yourself, él solo, now if it's a girl, it'd be ella sola, she by herself, we by ourselves, nosotros solos. So, by myself, by ourselves, that's another usage of solo, sola, solos, and solas. Okay. Solo with the accent is a short form for solamente. They both mean only. Okay? Only tomorrow. Solo mañana. Solamente mañana. We're only going to work for 4 hours today. Solo vamos a trabajar por 4 horas hoy. Or solamente vamos a trabajar por 4 horas hoy. They only close it when it's raining. Lo cierran solo cuando está lloviendo. Solamente lo cierran cuando está lloviendo, o lo cierran solamente cuando está lloviendo, meaning only. It's an adverb. It can also mean just. Just us, solo nosotros, just her, solo ella. Just me, solo yo. Remember, me by myself would be yo solo. Just me would be yo solo. Okay? Solo yo. How about if I want to say just them and their girls? Solo ellas. Solo ellas. But if I say ellas solas, that means them by themselves. So it's kind of close to this, but it's different. This is by myself, by himself, by herself, by ourselves, or just simply alone or lonely. I'm lonely, estoy solo, estoy sola. She feels lonely, se siente sola. We ourselves, by ourselves. Nosotros solos. We ourselves, nosotros solos. Okay? Me by myself, yo solo. You by yourself did that? Talking to a girl? Tú sola? Lo hiciste? That's what we have here. Over here, solo means just them. Like who's going? Just them, like just the girls. Solo ellas. Just us. Solo nosotros. Just you. Solo tú. Solo yo. Just me. Okay? And now we have what we've already studied. If you want to say the only plus a noun, el único, la única, los únicos, and las únicas. For example, the only people, las únicas personas. The only person that I know, la única persona que yo conozco, la única persona que yo conozco. The only book that I have, el único libro que tengo. The only week that I have open, la única semana que tengo libre. The only days that I'm not working next month, los únicos días que no voy a trabajar el mes próximo. So here's how you say the only plus noun. And remember, if you use these without a noun after them, what does it mean? El único, the only one. La única, the only one. Único, unique, right? Único also means unique. Los únicos, the only ones, plural, and las únicas. If someone says, I need all your keys, you don't say, this is the only one. Esta es la única, the only one. If you want to say the only key, you'd say la única llave. So let's go over this one more time. Solo, sola, solos, and solas, without the accent, mean alone or lonely, and they are commonly used with estar and sentirse. She was very lonely when I saw her. Estaba muy sola cuando la vi. They were very lonely when I visited them. Ellos estaban muy solos cuando los visité. How about here? Sentirse. She felt really sad. Se sentía muy, she felt very alone. She felt very lonely. Se sentía muy sola. Could you use it in a singular form with a noun? Like the single solitary reason. La sola razón. You could. It's not really common, but it exists and you'll hear it. Okay? Now, solo with the accent and solamente, they both mean only. Solo with the accent is short for solamente. Why does solo have an accent mark? Well, the stress is on the O. It ends in a vowel. It's where it's supposed to be. So the accent mark isn't there for pronunciation reasons. It's there to distinguish meaning. Solo with the accent means only. Solo without the accent means lonely or alone. In America, back in the day, even before I was a young kid, I think, they had that song, Only the Lonely, dum 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 dee doo wah. How would you say only the lonely? Just using our lesson here, right? To get a point across. You'd have to say only would be this one with the accent. Solo, the only, solo los solos. Just giving an example of the difference between only and lonely. Okay? Was that Elvis? I'm not sure. Okay, just can also be solo or solamente. Just us, solamente nosotros. Just you, solo tú. Just them, solo ellos. If I want to say them by themselves, ellos solos, ellas solas. Me by myself, yo solo. You did it all by yourself. Tú sola, lo hiciste. There it is. Okay? So solo is only or lonely. Look, Most importantly, you need to know that solo in its other three forms mean alone or lonely, and most of the time they're used with a star, to be or sentirse, to feel. When we gave you that example of la sola razón, the single solitary reason, that's an exception and it's not really common, so don't worry about that. That'll come along as you develop your Spanish skills and hear and understand more Spanish. Over here, you want to know that solo with the accent and solamente, they both mean only, and it can mean just as well. And then if you really want to say the only something, you're going to go with el único, la única, los únicos, or las únicas. For example, this is the only lesson for today. Esta es la única lección para hoy. ¿Ok? Muy bien. Gracias, amigos. Hasta la próxima lección. All these little things are important in Spanish. It's not a verb tense, right? It's not one of our piano keys. But we'll talk about all this other crazy stuff that's going on. These are the grains of sand that fill our beach, right? Innumerable grains of sand that comprise the Spanish language. In here, solo, solo, and solamente is very important. You need to know the difference between the three, okay? Okay, gracias amigos. Es todo por ahora. Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas. People go to Las Vegas for decades. People fly in from other continents, other countries. Does anybody know what the word means? Las Vegas, other than fun, 24/7, what happens in Vegas, lo que pasa en Las Vegas, se queda en Las Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Vegas are plains, flat land. If you go to Las Vegas, yeah, around Las Vegas, off in the distance, there are some mountains and such, but Las Vegas means the plains. Nevada means snow-covered land. Nevada is also a snowfall, right? So there you go. Las Vegas, the plains. Think, if you will, the Western Ho movement in the 1800s in the United States, right? Stagecoaches going across the plains, cruzando Las Vegas. Okay, gracias. Hasta pronto. Hasta la próxima lección. I'm ready. I'm ready for the next lesson. See you soon. Hasta luego.